Are you familiar with complex post-traumatic stress disorder? Though the DSM, which is the manual used in the United States to classify and diagnose mental disorders, does not yet recognize CPTSD, I can tell you it is very real and something that I live with every single day. It impacts every aspect of my life. Though as I sit here recording this episode, there is no known cure. That does not mean I am doomed. There are tools and different therapy modalities that help me manage my symptoms and improve my quality of life with CPTSD. This week, as part of May being Mental Health Awareness Month, I will continue my reflection on raising awareness about CPTSD. This is part 2, and I will be sharing more healing tools, challenges, and gifts from having complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Hi, I am Raysa, a survivor of narcissistic abuse, and I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And you are listening to Hello Trauma Brain, a podcast where I share my experiences living with complex PTSD. My hope is this podcast can help destigmatize mental illness and provide support to anyone diagnosed with CPTSD who thinks they might have it or has a loved one with this diagnosis. Quick reminder, I am not a licensed psychologist or mental health care professional, and this podcast is not meant to replace nor substitute the care of psychologists, other mental or medical health care professionals. If you think you might have complex PTSD or any of the conditions or disorders mentioned in this podcast, please reach out to your primary care or mental health care provider. Any individuals or resources mentioned in this podcast are not sponsoring Hello Trauma Brain. This episode may reference trauma or abuse, and listener discretion is advised. Remember, you can always pause or skip this episode at any time. And now, let's get back to the episode. Hello, dear survivors, and welcome to this episode of Hello Trauma Brain. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are listening on YouTube, a gentle reminder to hit the like button and subscribe to let me know this episode was helpful. I want to officially welcome any new listeners and welcome back any of you that are returning for more Hello Trauma Brain moments. Not gonna lie, it still feels a little bit weird to talk from the perspective of having listeners and having a podcast and creating content. I guess I'm still getting used to that. Quick check-in. It's been an interesting few days, and I've been doing a lot of reflection on where I was a year ago and where I am today. And part of it is some of the things that were happening last May happen to be circling back around. And I will talk a little bit more about that next week. I won't give away who the next guest is yet, but let me tell you, I am so excited to work on next week's episode because it's a guest that I've been wanting to have on the podcast since before I even started. And yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about that next week. So stay tuned. Here's the thing in terms of how this week has been for me. The thing about this week is that I've been having some doubts. I feel like the inner critic has been quite active in terms of making me second guess the podcast and doing this work. And the inner critic went, is this even worth it? Is this even making a difference? Is anyone actually listening to this thing? Really? And through dialoguing, I have been working with my inner kiddo and reminding her that this project is not about the numbers. Doesn't matter how many people are following or liking or messaging or listening. At the end of the day, this project was always meant to be one of those, if I can help one person, I did it. And we're doing that. We've been doing that and it's good enough. And this project is also a healing tool for us. Like I get to document my healing journey on this podcast every time I release an episode. And at this point, I have enough episodes that I can literally go, how was I doing last May? And I can play episodes from May and hear the stark difference between last year and this year. And I kind of set the intention and just opened up to the universe. Like, I would appreciate any sign. Any sign you can give me that I'm on the right path, like a little bit of evidence wouldn't hurt. And though I am working on not needing external validation, I kind of just threw the thought and the intention out there. And as I sit here today, I have already heard from two different people that have been reminding me of how helpful the podcast is. And these are people that had no idea I was going through that. They said it unprompted, it just came organically. And then one of my Instagram posts got reshared, and I'm going through that excitement of seeing new listeners coming in, new follows, more likes. And yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag because it feels good to get the validation and to hear, oh, okay, this is actually meaningful and people actually are finding it helpful. Great. Yes. And then I'm also going like, I shouldn't need the validation. There's that back and forth. You can hear it. And I'm going to try to practice instead of what I should or should not be, just allow things to be and allow myself to be a human being. And of course, it feels good when someone appreciates my work and tells me that they do. And it doesn't make me bad. And right now, I'm sitting here with all these feelings. And I guess what I'm trying to practice is it feels nice and we can enjoy that. And that's good. And we're still not doing this for the numbers. And we are still just doing this for us and for any survivor that can find this helpful. And that is good enough. Let me tell you, healing is so complicated. That's the thing about healing. It can feel good, and then you start feeling guilty for the things that feel good. And then when the good things are not happening, the shame comes in and goes, oh, I'm not getting the good things because I'm not good. It's a complicated way to exist. And something I also have been experiencing in the past few days, especially with the wins that I've been getting for the podcast, is being afraid of feeling joy. I can feel it in my body when the system goes, no, 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 no joy, because joy comes right before something bad happens. We don't want anything bad to happen, so let's not feel joy. And I'm trying to practice these days, sitting with the joy. And bad things happen not because I experience joy, but it's just a part of life. Challenges will come, things will break down. I will need to deal with an obstacle, and it had nothing to do with the joy. And actually, we deserve to enjoy the joy. Try saying that 5 times in a row. I am trying to practice allowing joy to be and not associating whatever obstacle comes next to the joy. They're two separate things. I think I'm ready to dive into this episode. So a few things to premise you with. There is a part 1 to this episode. And in fact, as you listen to some of this episode, you might get the impression that this is supposed to be one episode. And that is because that was the original plan. I was supposed to just do one episode, 30-minute episode or less. And then it became a longer episode. And the thing with the longer episodes is they take longer to edit. So I was running behind on schedule, and the episodes come out on Thursday. So Wednesday night, I was looking at the files that I still had to work on, and I was faced with 2 choices. Choice number 1 was bite down, get it done, whatever it takes. Don't take any breaks. Go to bed late, get it done. Or let's split it into 2 episodes. And instead of worrying and freaking out and stressing about finishing this lengthy episode in only a few hours, and also potentially increasing the chances that I would make more mistakes or forget to do something and then release the thing and it's missing a bunch of stuff that it needs. Instead of taking that risk, how about I take all that pressure and all that shame and all that and all the things that the inner critic throws at me and go, I'm just going to make a part 1 and a part 2, and I'm going to split it right here, and that's going to be good enough. So, and as you listen to part 2, you'll notice that I'm talking from the lens of it's really long, but I'll make it work. I didn't even know that I was going to split it into 2 parts at the time, but that is what I ended up doing. So yeah, there is a part 1, and I will link that to the show notes, and I invite you to have a listen first to part 1 so things make a little bit more sense this week. And I think that's all I need to say. So without any further delay, I hope you enjoy part 2 of this C-PTSD awareness episode. Something else that I have found beneficial is untangling my black and white thinking. Another term for this is all or nothing. I either do the thing 100% or zero. Either I'm perfect all the time or I'm the most horrible, despicable human being that ever came to live on the planet. People out there good all the time or they're horrible all the time. And if they do one thing, that's it. We're done. Or vice versa. And even with CPTSD, I want to say that a lot of my journey has been seeing it as this curse and this horrible thing. And it sucks to have it. And I don't want to have it. And how do I get rid of it? And there's nothing good out of this. And that's all or nothing or black and white thinking. And I want to use that to transition into what I consider the gifts that CPTSD has given me. And even saying that here, I can feel how triggering that could be for some of you hearing that, especially if CPTSD has been wrecking your life as it has been wrecking mine. And I want to be clear to say that I'm trying to be in the gray. So I'm not saying that CPTSD is the gift of a lifetime and it's the most amazing thing that could have ever happened to me. But also, I don't want to go to the other end and say it is the most horrible thing that happened and nothing good came out of it. Like, none of those things on that extreme are true. CPTSD has been a very challenging disorder to live with. And honestly, if somebody was to put me at the beginning of this and tell me, do you want to have CPTSD? Like, you actually get to choose this time. Do you actually want to have this? I'm not sure that I would say yes to that. However, I don't live in a world where I can go back in time. And my reality is that I will probably have CPTSD for the rest of my life because as I sit here today, there is no cure for this. This is about managing the symptoms. This is about learning to navigate the world with this disorder. And there are tools and there's ways to make things easier on me, but I cannot tell you that there's a magical cure because there is none. And in the spirit of trying to live a little bit more in the gray area, let me share some of the gifts and some of the things that I know CPTSD has brought to my life that give me a bit of an edge and advantage compared to people who don't have this. One of those things is my ability to read the room. For the longest time, I would have not described myself as the person that would survive the apocalypse. And I kept saying to myself, yeah, I would probably be one of the first ones to go. And it's funny because other people have said that if there was an apocalypse, I probably would survive. And I'm starting to believe that now. I think my ability to read the room and determine quickly what I need to do to stay safe is something that if I was in a dire situation, it would probably increase my chances of survival compared to other people. I also have a gift for paying attention to detail. And I feel like this is something that improves every aspect of my life. Like when I am singing, because I'm paying attention to detail and I'm listening to everything that everybody is doing at all times, it makes it easy for me to ebb and flow. Like if somebody screws up a part of the song and they are revamping the first verse or doing an extra part in the intro, like I will pick up on those things. I won't just keep going. And that has been very advantageous during live performances. I am a paralegal, that's my day job, and paying attention to detail pays off real well in that field. This definitely gives me an edge because, especially in my line of work, there's so much going on and all these things coming out of the woodwork and so many things to keep track of. And my ability to pay really close attention to the little things have made me better at my job. Also, because I started healing my CPTSD more, and now I am more aware of how much bandwidth it used to take me to do things, I am finding that that is leading to me making more accommodations for myself. And that has been a game changer for how I am navigating my workflow. And I have to say, even the ability to come up with systems that make me more productive and that maximize the strengths that I have from my trauma brain, and the fact that I can tune in and accept what my strengths and my weaknesses are from having this trauma brain is something that allows me to constantly be changing and incorporating new things, which I realize is an advantage against people who are not self-aware or who are in denial about needing tools or needing things, or who might have a harder time with getting feedback I feel like I am on the other end. So if you give me feedback or if I make a mistake, for example, I don't go into denial about making the mistake. I go, oh no, shit, I made that mistake. How do I avoid making that mistake? Oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and that's not going to happen again. And it's not like I am a perfect human being. I still will make mistakes, but I'm pretty good at incorporating feedback fast, which reduces the chances that I will keep repeating the same mistake. Knock on wood, generally speaking, not that I don't ever make the same mistake more than once because I do. But yeah, I think with my CPTSD, and I think part of that is because making mistakes for me was so dangerous, I became very highly attuned to avoiding making the same mistake like the plague. And it does help with things. Having CPTSD has also helped me with my driving. Stay with me. I'm not the best driver on the planet, but I will say this. I am a very cautious driver. So, for example, if I see someone swerving a little bit in front of me, I'll slow down real fast just in case. Or if I see someone that's cutting off people or being reckless, same thing. I feel like I notice it very quickly and I am able to adapt my driving to avoid being potentially involved in an accident. And it is not like I am immune to car accidents, but I will say the fact that I am so attuned while I am driving keeps me safer and it keeps the other people around me safer. And that I will consider a gift. Now, this next one I feel like is the CPTSD combined with, I want to say, an inherent empathy that I was born with and the fact that I am highly sensitive too. But I feel like the CPTSD has enhanced perhaps some of these traits that I have and it increases my ability to tune in into the energy of other people. And I feel like it increases my ability to notice how I'm impacting other people, how to be a better supporter to them. I feel like the CPTSD enhances my ability to connect and be attuned to other people, also to pay attention when someone needs help or needs support. And I think that's a beautiful thing about me. I do find purpose in being able to help other people. And I feel like that's a lot of what this podcast is about as well. I feel like my sense of attunement is pretty high. I feel like people can tell and people can pick up on it. And also my capacity to be a safe person. And the reason I say that is because I tend to find myself in situations where people just open up to me very quickly. And I think that's just something that I innately have. And I don't think the CPTSD created that. I think it enhanced how it developed and it probably sharpened it. Okay, what else CPTSD gives me that I consider a gift? I think because of what causes CPTSD, the fact that I have survived and experienced so much trauma. And I feel like that puts me in a unique position to relate and really connect with someone who has been through something similar. And I feel like that comes from a place of there's only so much somebody can do or say or how much they can relate with. They haven't been through the thing. But because I've been through so many things that have been painful and I know the pain and I know what it feels like to be on the end of not getting the support that I need, I feel like that makes me a little bit more aware of what to say and what not to say. And I feel like that allows me to be a better supporter for people that have been through something similar to me. I feel like the CPTSD even helps with this podcast. I was just taking in earlier today how I am past episode 60. I've done more than 60 episodes and here's the thing, I haven't run out of things to say and I have so much more than I want to say because CPTSD is so big. It's a huge part of my life. A lot of things led to this. The healing is just as complex. It's just, yeah, a lot. And I feel like if I was podcasting about something else, I would be struggling with what to say or what episode ideas to come up with. And I don't really have that problem when it comes to CPTSD. I might have like a week here or there where I'm like, what do I talk about this week? And then very quickly I go, oh, I can talk about this. And then even now, I was shooting to make this episode tops 30 minutes. As I said here, I've been talking for an hour and 25 minutes. And that's without counting all the pauses with the OCD and stuff. And I will edit this down. There's a lot of takes I'm not going to leave on this episode. But this is another example of how my CPTSD is even providing in terms of content for this podcast. Okay, so final thoughts on this. I haven't tried actual medications yet, not opposed to them. But here's what I want to say. We are all different. And when it comes to CPTSD, each and every one of us got there in a very unique way. And the healing is going to look unique as well. Though shame is not done with me, I have to say something I have found very valuable is when I hear public figures, celebrities, musicians, people that are in the public eye open up about their mental health or their mental illnesses. And that was a bit of the fuel that helped me start this podcast. When I sit here and think about the people I have seen speak about their mental illnesses or their mental health in public, it doesn't even have to be a celebrity, anyone. When I see someone make a post or say the thing out loud, it's been so beneficial for me because it helps reduce my shame. And that was a huge inspiration in starting the podcast. Honestly, if I can help reduce an ounce of shame on anyone who listens to this, then it was worth it. Shame thrives in the dark and in silence. When we not only feel, but we're run by the shame, we will be consumed by that dark, silent pit of dark. I'm Raysa and I have complex PTSD. I have OCD. I struggle with anxiety, a lot of ADHD symptoms, depression, antomophobia. I probably have more things that I don't even know I have yet. I'm just as worthy as anyone else. I have been able to hold down a job for years. There are bands that still call me to sing with them. I have been able to create healthier relationships. I treat myself with more compassion these days. I do a better job at listening to my body and listening to what my inner kiddo needs. I have been working really hard. I do therapy still every 2 weeks. I want to do another group. I dialogue, try to meditate, try new things, still do my YouTube dives on mental health to keep educating myself and to continue to understand what is happening inside my brain and what is happening around me. I have gotten this far. I have benefited from support groups. I have a whole podcast about having mental illness and living with it and about raising awareness about mental health. I feel that people like me deserve to be heard and we're not wrong, we're not bad. Something that has been very helpful to me is realizing that there was nothing wrong with me. For a long time, I thought there was. And sometimes it might feel like there is. But in reality, what's really wrong and what's really fucked up is not the fact that I behave this way, because this right here, as traumatized as I am, this is a normal response to an abnormal situation. If I was unscathed and traumaless after everything that has happened to me, that would be pretty shocking, because that would not be a normal reaction to what I've been through. What is really wrong is what happened to me. What was done to me, that is what was wrong. For years, I carried the shame, and I'm still carrying some of it, a significant amount, but it's less now because little by little, a lot of my work is taking the shame that other people put on me and giving it back to them where it fucking belongs. So this is me, human being with mental illness, flaws, gifts, challenges, healing, struggles. The whole thing is complicated and it's also real. In this week's Healing Invitation, I want to offer you a few things to reflect about. When was the first time you heard about complex post-traumatic stress disorder? For me, the first time I heard about CPTSD was not in the therapy room. It was in a support group meeting. I do not know where I will be today if I still did not know complex PTSD existed, which is why I want to invite you to help me raise awareness about CPTSD. There are many ways you can do this, and please choose the way that feels right to you. You can share this episode, recommend this podcast, reshare any of the social media posts. CPTSD is recognized in the International Manual, and I believe that it should be. In fact, I know of an organization called the Healing and CPTSD Foundation, and they have been collecting signatures for a petition to include CPTSD on the DSM. I'm actually going to include that link on the show notes. I know I've said this a few times, but a little can go a long way. You never know the impact you can have on someone else from sharing something, signing a petition, creating awareness in your own way. Though there's a little bit more push about raising awareness this month, I invite you to consider raising awareness all the time. I believe that taking care of our mental health can be life saving. Please let me know how this week's healing invitation goes if you choose to accept it. Before we wrap up this episode, all music and production is courtesy of yours truly. Also, I want to share a few ways you can support this podcast. You can subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or the platform that you are using to listen. Share this episode with anyone you think could find this podcast helpful. Subscribe to the Hello Trauma Brain YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when I post a new episode. And you can make a donation via PayPal. I want to thank you in advance for your support. A little can go a very long way in helping the podcast reach more survivors that could benefit from finding this content. No worries, all links will be provided in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this episode helpful. I wish you the best as you continue raising mental health awareness. It is time for our farewell affirmations. I invite you to repeat after me. I welcome the belief that I am enough. I am lovable. And I deserve to heal. I wish you a gentle week and thank you for your presence.